Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Is a
Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the end of the world is apparently coming edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com on a day before the day, because apparently we're going to get hammered over the next couple days. Awesome. April 3rd, and yet we're still dealing with stuff from December 3rd, January 3rd, February 3rd, March 3rd. Take your pick on that. It appears it's going to get nasty here, folks. And buckle up is the best way I could describe it. It's a cruel joke. I was out chipping the driveway yesterday, feeling good about it. The street looks good, driveway all right. And now it's just like, here comes the ultimate punch in the face with over a foot of snow being projected for us, at least for here. Others might get worse, might get more, who knows. So we'll, of course, keep you updated on that. Our meteorologists are working around the clock, as they always are, even when the weather is nice out. We got people working around the clock, and we'll have updates wherever pertinent here on our show, of course. The news follows us at 11 right here on WDAY on an extra, so the Storm Tracker app is your best way to keep you informed on that. That's the only PSA I'll do about it, because it's fantastic. With that, hope everybody had a great weekend. We took in the circus this weekend. Thought of my good friend, the late, great Dave Rynan, who used to produce our show when we were on radio, who loved being a part of the Shriners, and loved that weekend. I put love in quotation mark. I think it was a love-hate relationship that Dave had with the circus when it came to town. But we took the Jackman to the circus, and he had a ball. He kept, and when everybody asked him what he loved the most, he said the music, which I thought was an interesting answer. He liked the elephant. We didn't do the elephant ride. Liked the elephant. Guy on the motorcycle that jumped through that was pretty neat. So we took that in. So that was the big highlight for our family this weekend. And enjoyed what was some pretty decent weather. Certainly yesterday was fantastic to be outside. With that said, there is the different palette of what you could take in sports-wise with the opening weekend of the baseball season, which I'll get to in a little bit. We are wrapping up quickly with the NBA regular season. As I tweeted out yesterday, I decided to put time and effort into the Timberwolves this season. That was an error in judgment. We'll show you why if you missed out. Even if you didn't, we're going to show you anyway what happened yesterday. And as we mentioned, this is the final night of the college basketball season, as it'll wrap up tonight in Houston with San Diego State and Connecticut. It's a heck of a December 23rd bowl game matchup, but they'll play for the national championship in men's college basketball tonight after a thrilling ending in the at least one of the semifinal games on Saturday. The women's championship game played yesterday. You saw it on WDAY. I've got my own thoughts on that, which we'll show coming up here in our opening segment. And, of course, we'll do our best of the weekend as we've reached Masters Week. Why wouldn't it be Masters Week and a blizzard on top for us here? As we visited with Tom Hoagie, if you missed our show on Friday, which you can podcast and rewatch that at Inforum.com. We'll discuss plenty about that coming up later on here on our show this morning. But why not start with the red-hot Minnesota Twins? Like everybody thought they would start the season 3-0. They wouldn't allow a run until yesterday after shutting out Kansas City on Thursday. They shut them out again on Saturday. Yesterday, Joe Ryan made his 2023 debut, and he was good. He was good. He danced around some trouble early in the game, but found his control, much like, all spring training long. And we showed him a couple of times on this program of how he was pitching. He was in command of the moment, knew what needed to be done at the exact moment, and was that way yesterday. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, just 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts against a Kansas City lineup that, by the way, as I said last week, is 2 years away from being 2 years away. The Royals are not good. That was evidenced this weekend. I'm not sure how great the Twins are, but their starters, if you get through 6 innings, that's A-okay. How about our guy, Joey Gallo? That's what he can do. He hadn't got a hit yet, then bombs one here in the top of the 6th inning. That's his first hit of the season, goes for a home run to give the Twins a 3-1 lead at that point. Again, he'll strike out a ton, but all he needs is to connect with one, and it's going to go a long way. And then he does it again in the 7th inning with 2 on, a moonshot to right field for a 3-run home run. That blew this game open, turned it from a 3-1 game to a 6-1 game at that point. And that's the nature of what Gallo is as a baseball player. And then this guy came in. I don't know why Emilio Pagan is still on the Twins roster. Someone's going to have to answer that to me, because he turned a laugher into a close game in the 9th inning. Gave up a double. Gives up a single here. Run scores. It's 7-4. What are we doing? Why is he still in the game? Why is he still in the team? He got this ground ball to third to end it as Miranda made a nice play as the Twins win it 7-4. But Pagan just makes it unnecessarily hard every time. How about that nerd stat, by the way? Joe Ryan now 5-0 against the Royals as they get the series sweep. Thanks to Gallo's big day and Ryan's great day on the mound and the bullpen, Moran, Lopez, and then Pagan's efforts in the 9th inning. But the Twins win all 3 in Kansas City. You can't start any better than that. Getting different contributions from different guys. Buxton had 2 more hits yesterday. Trevor Larnach had 3 more hits yesterday. We mentioned what Gallo's did. Jeffers had a couple of hits and drove in a couple of guys. So different guys contributing so far. That's what you want. And that's a heck of a start, as they'll now take their road show to Miami to open up a series with the Marlins tonight. But that's about a dream start you can have if you're a Twins fan. You go on the road and sweep a team that's not very good. You beat the teams you're supposed to. And for the team we're going to feature next, they could learn something from that. I understand it's 3 games, but the most important part to me, and this is what everyone's been talking about this entire weekend, is the length of the games. All of them just zipping by, which leads to everyone saying, well, why wasn't the pitch clock introduced earlier? I will say it was there. It was never enforced. That's the difference. Now it's being enforced because you have games getting over in 2 hours. I mean, we're going to have a game get done in under 2 hours. It's going to happen. The Mets lost on Friday night to the Marlins. It was a 2-1 game, and I think it took 2 hours and 8 minutes. So I remember thinking, well, okay, the Mets lost, but at least the game was over quick. It wasn't this long, drawn-out affair. I could go on and do other things on Friday night. All right. And that will be the appeal, I imagine, for even non-hardcore baseball fans of seeing that. Speaking of teams unable to beat teams underneath them, we present the Minnesota Timberwolves to you. When we left you on Friday, the Wolves were preparing for a monster game with the Lakers, which they lost. They couldn't do anything offensively. So the Blazers come in, and Portland is terrible. Portland is actively trying to lose. They are what we call tanking in the business. And the Wolves took advantage. Ant was good. They built a sizable lead in this game. Again, the Trailblazers, if you could name 3 Blazers, I'd give you $50 right now. But this is what Minnesota does. They mess around with teams, and they're down here. They try for the steal. Watch this on the replay as Edwards going for the steal on Sharp. Goes out of bounds. They reviewed it, which seemed internally, it stayed with the Blazers. They missed 1 or 2 at the line. So, all right, here you go. Chance to either tie or win the game. I did not watch this live. I watched it late last night. This is what you come up with? Is Kyle Anderson over the top of the backboard? What? You deserve to lose. The Wolves were a 19-point favorite. According to different betting websites, that is the largest favorite to lose an NBA game in the last 35 years. That's how long they've been keeping track of this stuff. You can't make it up. So after Naz Reid got hurt, the Wolves have not been able to recover. They lost that game in Phoenix. They lost the game to the Lakers on Friday. Now you lose this one. And now you're in real trouble because you picked a heck of a time for a losing skid. Because here are now the up-to-date standings in the Western Conference put the Wolves all the way down to 9 now. We went from 6 to 9 with this. They're a game ahead of Oklahoma City, who holds the 10 spot. The Mavericks keep losing, which is maybe the only saving grace here because Dallas has lost 3 in a row. And by the way, look who's now up to the 7th spot. The Lakers are. And the Lakers are just a half game behind Golden State. I don't think anybody wants to see L.A. After seeing that game on Friday, Anthony Davis got hurt and then came back. LeBron was, the Lakers nobody wants. And now the Wolves would host the Thunder. If this is, by the way, New Orleans is red hot. The Pelicans have won 7 of 10. They've saved their season. The Wolves would host the Thunder and would have to win the loser of the Lakers-Pelicans game on the road to make it into the postseason, as it were. The loss yesterday pretty much, I think, eliminated them from getting to the 6th spot. They have 3 games remaining. They play the Nets coming up tomorrow. Then it's the Spurs. Then it's the Pelicans. The Spurs game on Saturday, the Pelicans on Sunday. That's just amazing how this is all unfolded here over the last little bit. Just an absolute debacle. As I tweeted out, I put in effort and time into the Wolves, and that was an error. I've seen some bad losses in the 16-plus years I've been out here to actually following the team. This one's near the top. That one was bad. Considering Portland is actively trying to lose. Just, not good. Lastly, before we wrap up our opening segment, the women's national championship game played yesterday on WDAY, which I'll have some more thoughts about time and channel later on in the show because I got asked about that during the game. Iowa, LSU. Iowa beat South Carolina in a rousing game on Friday night. I hope everybody watched it. If you didn't, you were one of the few who missed it. 6 million people watched the game on Friday night. We told you it was going to be a ratings bonanza. It was. It was the 3rd highest rating game in the history of women's college basketball. Setting up a matchup with LSU. LSU beat Virginia Tech in the first semifinal on Friday. And I would love to tell you it was a great game, played with few interruptions. I can't tell you that. I can tell you the referees decided that they wanted to be part of the show, despite some great shot making from Caitlin Clark, who does not really ever disappoint. And I think for some that maybe got their first introduction to her yesterday, this was the foul on Angel Reese, which was a terrible call there. Kim Mulkey went crazy. Reese had to sit with early foul trouble. They had no answer, though, for Jasmine Carson, who decided to go off yesterday. Deep 3 there. There's another that's going to be called an offensive foul on Monica Sonano, on Clark, which is a terrible call. That was her 3rd. She had to sit. Sonano foul out of this game. This was the play from Carson at the end of the first half to bank in a 3. Gave LSU a 17-point halftime lead. You knew Iowa was going to come back because Clark would do that. Step back 3. They got it eventually to 7. There's another bad call. That one on Sonano. And then this is the play where Clark, I don't even know, throws the ball. She got whistled for a technical foul there. That was her 4th. Nobody thought that should have been a technical foul. I mean, you can complain all you want about the refereeing in the game, and that's what we're going to talk about here in a second, is the taunting that Reese did to Clark. But LSU wins the championship, scoring 102 points, the most ever in a women's national championship game, winning 102-85 the final over Iowa to win their first national championship. Angel Reese was great in the game despite the foul issues, 15 points and 10 rebounds. Carson was amazing with 22 off the bench. Clark finishes the season with 30. And I'll remind everybody that is not her final collegiate game. She will come back next year. She has the option, actually, to come back 2 more years and play at Iowa if she wants to. And that's an intriguing discussion because I think she actually can make more money in name, image, likeness than she could going to the WNBA. Everyone's going to talk about the taunt, so let's get it out now. The video here will show you at the end of the game. Now, Caitlin Clark has done the can't see me. That's what Angel Reese is doing. And then the deliberate pointing of the ring on the finger there at the end of the game. I know some seem to have had a real problem with it. See, Kim Mulkey had some, and what Clark said, some high praise for after the game. I don't have a problem with this. Not one bit. If you're going to give it, you better be able to take it. And Clark did. Now, is it more direct than what Clark did, what Angel Reese did? Yeah, that was intentional. They won. How many times have we seen this? And I'll just look at it in the men's game. We see this all the time in the men's game. All the time in the men's game. And most of the time, do we say anything? No. It's probably more part of the game. It happened yesterday in the most high-profile game you could, in a women's championship game, and apparently everybody lost their collective you-know-what. I got no problem with this. None. And the people that do, I would tell you, get over it. It's probably the best way. I got nothing for you here. I really don't. This is part of the game. Why is it celebrated on the men's side, but it's chastised on the women's side? That I don't understand. Clark had no issue with it. She said it after the game. Reese clearly took umbrage with what she had done and played a great game. Her team won. If Iowa had won, I'm pretty sure that we would have seen the same reaction that Clark had done. She did it Friday night against South Carolina when she dropped 39 in that game. I got no issue with that. I think we're crying at the sky here about nothing. And I'm sure it'll be all over sports talk shows today. I don't see any issue with it. Maybe I'm missing something, but if we turn our heads at it in the men's game, I'm not sure why it's such a big deal on the women's side. To me, that doesn't make much sense. With that said, I'm sure we'll talk more about it, and I'm sure it'll be bloviated upon about every sports talk show there is today. It is Monday. We got a packed show coming up for you. We'll do our best of the weekend here in just a few minutes, saluting what we saw over the last couple of days. At 9:35, Jeff Kolpack will join us, as he usually does each and every Monday. We'll recap what we saw this weekend and preview, of course, it is Masters Week. Excited we've got on tap there, coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, Chris Coste will join us, the FM RedHawks manager and head coach of the Concordia Cobber baseball team. Coaster, of course, announced late last week that he's stepping down as the head coach of the Cobbers after this season. We'll get his thoughts about that, and now focusing solely on the RedHawks and, of course, the start of the baseball season coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Kindred athletic director Matt Crane will join us as he announced a big life change. He's going to be leaving Kindred as the AD and head football coach to take the athletic director job at Bismarck High. He'll join us coming up at 10:35. So a packed show here to start off our Monday before the snow comes later this week. We'll take a break. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We're back after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, on a Monday morning edition of Hot Mic, WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. Lots to get to here as we prepare for the Snowmageddon that is on tap for us here on this first week of April. We do each and every Monday at 9:20. We salute our best of the weekend, so let's rock and roll. From the Final Four on Saturday night, San Diego State and Florida Atlantic played an absolute barn burner that went right down to the wire, where the Owls had built a significant lead in this game, only to see the Aztecs chip away on it here. They had the drive there that's too strong. San Diego State gets the rebound. And why wouldn't you go for a buzzer-beating, game-winning shot to win it at the buzzer to give San Diego State the win and send the Aztecs to the national championship game? Lamont Butler, plenty of time, he got that off to win it and send San Diego State to tonight's national championship game, where they will face the University of Connecticut. Heck of a win. So infrequent you have that at the Final Four. Normally we get our buzzer beaters in the first round, second round, Sweet 16 occasionally. But once we get to this stage, outside of the Chris Jenkins game-winning shot for Villanova a few years back, that was, 7 years ago in Houston when Villanova beat North Carolina, and the Jalen Suggs shot for Gonzaga against UCLA, it doesn't happen. So when you have that kind of finish, oh man, that was, and by the way, the Suggs shot happened with nobody in the crowd in Indianapolis in the COVID year of 21. That's pretty good stuff. So congratulations to them. It'll be San Diego State and Connecticut tonight for the national championship. Again, I'll go back to this. What an advertisement this is for San Diego State in the Pac-12 to say, take us, because they've had an unreal run here. And we already know the flirtations have already started between the two. Might as well consummate the thing about how well they have played here over the last little bit. This segment on Mondays we have carved out over the last few weeks as almost the Darius Shepard Appreciation Tour. It continued again yesterday. As again I said last Monday, we are your home for the XFL highlights. And it happened again yesterday for the St. Louis Battlehawk wide receiver. Facing the Houston Roughnecks, he comes up with another touchdown reception. That's his fourth in the last 3 games. St. Louis won again, 24-15 the final. Shepard, 7 receptions, 70 more yards, and a touchdown. You know, we visited with Kyle Emanuel about this last week on the show. The guy's going to get another look. He's playing too well not to be noticed here. That NFL scouts, whatever, are going to say, all right, well, let's get him into a camp whenever the XFL season wraps up, which I can't sit here and tell you I know when the XFL season wraps. I know we were on the back end of their schedule. That was week 7 yesterday. The championship weekend comes May 13th, so a little more than a month from now is when the XFL title game is in San Antonio. Right in line with when mini camps are going around the country in the NFL. Does that mean he's going to get a chance there? I don't know, but I would think he's got a heck of a resume reel that he's been on display here over the last month of what he's done. So, congrats to Shep. Keeps tearing it up for St. Louis at the in the XFL. Last thing before we wrap up, if you missed this yesterday morning, this is one of the cool traditions about Masters Week, is they have the drive, putt, and chip championship. And it's held between 7-year-olds and I think 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Last year we featured Lincoln Rubis on the show. His dad, of course, grew up here, John, and Lincoln went and competed down in Augusta. More local connection this year. Park Rapids' Natalie Martin was at Augusta for the second year in a row. She made it last year as a 10-year-old, returned as an 11-year-old. And one part of the competition is you get to putt on the 18th green. And you get 2 putts. And she drilled the first one, which is fantastic. So she gets another one. And look at this. She made them both on the 18th green. She became the 7th player in the history of this event to make them both. She got a handshake from Condoleezza Rice, former Secretary of State, member at Augusta National, her dad going crazy. The whole family was there. How neat was that? I mean, there are professional golfers that have not made putts at the 18th green at Augusta. She did that with a big crowd there. It's not like there was nobody there. She drained them both. She ended up finishing 7th in her age category after those 2 putts. Again, only 7 in the history of the competition have done it. She made them both. We're going to hear from her coming up on the show tomorrow and her family, because today they get to take in a practice round at Augusta. It's a pretty cool bit about making it there. You get to go to the practice round today, where Tiger is going to be there, the whole shooting match down there at Augusta. Congratulations to them. We'll take a break. We come back. Jeff Kolpack will be here, I think, in one piece. I know he was feeling under the weather. He'll be here as apparently with some sort of breaking news. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com.
It's that time. An author,
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2, I forgot.
golfer,
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
and one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Well, I'm just glad to see our good friend and colleague Jeff Kolpack upright. You weren't feeling well, man.
Oh, Thursday and Friday for sure.
Yeah.
First time I was sick since before COVID.
Yeah.
And I felt better when I had COVID, that's for sure.
You're doing better
doing fine.
now?
Made a remarkable
Holy
recovery
cow.
over the weekend.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're up and
Yes.
about. You tweeted out before you came in, I'm coming in hot with breaking news.
You know, this is huge. I got to stand up. Am I still in the picture?
Yeah. They'll fix for it.
The Fargo-Dome renovation, according to a source, when it's announced in the next few weeks, supposedly, there won't be a bathroom in the press box.
Get out of town. Are you kidding? Sitting down. Holy cow.
You know, the guys in the press box or in the coaching
In the
booth?
coaching box.
The radio guys?
So this is official. Your source telling you this is going to happen?
This is going to happen.
When is the renovation going to happen? We know that
Well,
part.
we don't know exactly when that's going to start, but apparently soon it'll be announced.
But in part of the renovation plans will be a bathroom up in the
I
press
deserve
box.
naming.
Well, you know what? If they're smart, they'll sell it. They'll sell the naming
You know,
rights out.
in the first game I cover with a bathroom, I'm going to be drinking coffee every 10 minutes. I'll be covering the goddamn game from that bathroom.
All right. Well,
All
there you
right,
go.
what went on this
Holy
weekend?
cow. How about that?
Wow.
That's big news, actually. Because honestly, people don't know this, but some that do that sit up close by us, it's like literally the running of the bulls at halftime, man. It is crazy to see the amount of it is like, get out of the way.
Get into the elevator.
In his prime, like lead follower, get the hell out of the way, man. It's like get to the elevator. It's unbelievable. Some actually will go down the stairs to go down into the concourse to go to the bathroom. It's amazing. I've seen it. It's crazy. So, wow. All right. Kolpack with a haymaker here on a Monday. Well, I just want to read this tweet for you, by the way, because I know you had Tom Hoagie on your golf show. We had Tom on the show on Friday. Gary D'Amato, who reports for WisconsinGolf.com, says significant changes in the weather ahead at Augusta. Temps in the mid-80s Tuesday through Thursday. Then highs of 66, 56, and 64 Friday through Sunday.
It was cold last year, too.
Right. Tom said that. 70% chance of rain on the weekend.
Ooh.
So how does that fit our boy from Fargo for this weekend if that ends up being the case?
Well, it would be great if he was just 22 years old and fresh from playing in the great outdoors we have here. But he's been in Texas for so long that I think he prefers it nice. I mean, I think he's made the transformation from cold weather Tom to warm weather Tom. So I'm not, there's no advantage there anymore. It's just been too long.
He will be the first North Dakotan to play this event now twice after what he had a great year to earn his trip back. He's playing well. Even at the match play, Kolpack, he had great rounds.
-5, -3, -3.
But ended up losing all three of his matches. That comes off the T3 and the course record playing at Sawgrass. What do we expect for it being a second time there? That can only help, right?
Well, it certainly can help. It'll get rid of a lot of the newness of family, friends in town.
Right.
And they know where to go now, too. It's too bad. It's too bad he went 0-3 on that because I'm still looking at the Ryder Cup thing down the line here.
Yep.
And it'd have been nice if he went 2-1 in match play
And make it to the weekend.
It helped the captain's picks if it came down to that. So
I agree.
I go back to that. Maybe the captain will go, well, look at his rounds, but I don't know if they'll get that deep. But getting back to the Masters here, though, I just he could be in the mix. There's no doubt. He's arrived. He's one of those guys. He's confident.
Yep.
He's got that confidence in him that he knows he can play with these people. It's not like when he goes to the first. Oh my God, there's Tiger Woods.
Right.
That any. I'm not saying any intimidation, but that oddness. That's over with. That's gone.
We'll find out his partners and groupings coming up here as the morning goes on. But finished 39th last year, but he was right around par every round, 73, 72, 75, 73 with a 4-round. And I think it was huge, Kolpack. He played the weekend. That's a big – not many guys go down there their first time on that track and play the weekend. That's a big deal.
And I think that if you'd really talk to him and admit deep down that was the goal, is to stay there for the weekend and just get the taste of 4 days. I just to me, that's a huge deal in that making the cut of any tournament, but making the cut in the Masters is really good.
I had somebody ask me this, since you've experienced both, which are two on my bucket list, to go either to the Masters or to the Kentucky Derby. Which one was?
Well, I've been to both.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Which one was?
Oh boy,
better fan experience. Was it the Derby or the Masters?
Oh, the Masters for sure, because you're closer to the action. You can walk along with the players. You can move around. I mean, the Derby, I was out in the infield. Here's what I saw the Derby. Then you're looking at the screen to see who won.
It's pretty much the same when I went to the Daytona.
Maybe it's too many mid juleps too. I don't know if that. Oh, those things are awful. By the way, I had one and I barely finished it.
See, that's funny you say that because I was trying to be clever asking Tom about the food, and he declined to answer out of respect for the golf course. Apparently, the food's not great down there either.
Cheap. It was cheap. I don't know, it was like $1 for a sandwich.
Apparently, and Benel told me because Eric went down last year that the pimento cheese sandwich is not good.
And it's
not
like $2. Well, it's been there a while. The beer is really cheap. And you think okay, is this like the Phoenix Open where everybody's just swilling beer? No.
Not the case.
You don't want to be losing your badges and getting too inebriated.
Get removed from the
oh my
golf
goodness,
course with extreme prejudice.
This is the Masters.
Yeah.
You're at your best behavior.
The still thing that gets me is that they do not take all the TV coverage. Like all the other majors, you get 1 through 18 of holes. That's not the case still with the Masters. You still get a slice of it on Thursday and Friday, and when the leaders, you get a little bit more on Saturday and Sunday. But
that's
it's still restricted there.
You don't see much of the front nine at Augusta National. You just don't. I walked it a little bit, and is like, wow, this is nice, but. Everybody, it's all about the back nine there. It starts at, Amen Corner, 11. Interested to see how Tom plays 13 now. He struggled a little bit last year with it, and they've lengthened it. So it might, I don't know if they move the angle back. I'm curious to see what it looks like on the tee. So it's not so much just dogleg. They must have really plowed into that hill there to make it longer. So maybe it'll help him be able to straighten his drive off because I think he plays a fade. And
that hole was a bugaboo for him last year.
Oh, yeah, and that's not a fade hole.
I do want to get your thoughts because I got a couple emails on this. If you watched the Women's Championship game yesterday, I thought you had a great tweet about that the referees decided to make themselves.
Oh, the team.
It was just bad. It was just bad.
You know what it reminded me of, Dom, was some of those. There's been a couple of playoff games at the Fargo-Dome. Now, maybe 13, 14. You know, ones on the really loud ones where they brought in a reffing crew who was just
Totally
overwhelmed. It was just too big for them. They couldn't handle it. They'd never reffed a game in an environment like that. I have to wonder. I don't know this, but I have to wonder if that crew was a little overwhelmed because, man, were they touchy-feely? They didn't know how to handle the game.
No.
You know, and then ultimately, your best players
were on the bench.
They're on the bench.
Here's Michael McCarthy writes for Front Office Sports. This is a tweet. Can't even estimate what the refs have cost the NCAA today from a business standpoint with their sorry performance. Cost viewers chance to see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Probably cost ABC a TV record for Women's National Championship. Cost the NCAA millions in media rights.
Wow.
Now, that might be a little dramatic at the last part, but I don't think he's far off, honestly, because how many people that do not watch signed up and say, well, if Caitlin Clark just beats South Carolina, I want to watch her play in the championship game, and it's in the middle of the afternoon.
And
let's do it.
And that technical, I don't know if you have.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, they'll find it for us.
That technical was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And it's such a example where if you're the referee, just go up and go,
right.
Hey, hand me the ball next time. I mean, what is this about with the ref?
Yeah. Now the pool reporter got the answer after, so they warned Iowa earlier in the game about, I don't know, about excessive complaining or whatever, but this is the play that Jeff's talking about. It's so innocuous.
Watch this. The ball just she probably thought she was just throwing it back to wherever the ball came from.
It was so innocuous that it was just a baloney deal. The other part that's blown up today is the taunting at the end. Is this a thing? Does this bug you at all?
No.
Not me. Not one iota I have a problem with this.
Well, it did right away, but I turned to my wife, right? And I go, there must be more to that. There's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
So don't
Clark did it the entire time.
Yeah, she did it against Louisville.
Yeah,
I didn't know at the time.
She did it against Louisville. She did it against South Carolina on Friday night.
Paybacks, man. Sorry.
I got no issue with that. If we
if that was the first time ever, we should, and then that would have been a little out of line.
But you know what, Jeff? We see how many times we see this in the men's game when we just accept it. You know what I mean? Like, and the women do it. It's like, oh, it's sportsmanship. No. This is how it is. I mean, if you're going to dish it, you better be able to take it. And by the way, Clark did. She did. She said post-game she had no issue with it.
Yeah.
That part I
don't know if
understand.
she saw it, but
that part I don't understand on that. But getting back to the refereeing, that probably cost ABC a TV record for Women's National Championship is an interesting point because Reese was on the bench early in the second quarter, and then Clark went to the bench with her third foul midway through the second quarter as well.
And it was apparently okay that one ref ran into Kim Mulkey on the court.
Mulkey was on the court, and that thing was called there.
I mean,
like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. Because
it's just too big for him. It was just too big.
I think it was the SoCon, now that I'm bringing it up, about the refereing you're talking about at the Fargo-Dome.
The semifinal reffing crew was really good. I recognize one of those women, one of the female referees.
On Friday night,
she refed the Summit games.
Yes.
And she was pretty good.
Yep.
I thought the Friday games were well officiated.
I agree.
To be fair. I mean,
boy,
that
was not the case yesterday, though. Because I had people asking me, well, why is the game on Sunday afternoon? And this is exactly like the FCS championship game. They put the ABC, gave them a window, say, hey, if you want to be on ABC, we've got a time, much like they did.
It's a great time for it.
I had no problem. I do think they're going to move it to prime time. I would not be surprised in 24. Sunday night on ABC, it will be there.
Can we have
next year.
the two Final Fours in the same site?
It's funny you say that. Gino Auriemma was asked about that. He said, no, I don't want any part of that. It would swallow up what the women have carved out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which I totally agree with him.
Fair enough.
I think, because this is a whole broader discussion, because this was going on Twitter Saturday night about having the Final Four at football stadiums is more affordable for the common fan. It's the most affordable big event ticket for the fan, which I totally disagree with. Because I went to US Bank Stadium. I went to the upper tank.
Yeah.
Right? It's ants up there, Kolpack. The only reason you're going is because you want the experience of going.
But I bet they have bathrooms up there. I bet they have bathrooms in the press box.
Definitely. They did. I can tell you that. Yeah. I know there was a bathroom there. Let's take a break. We come back. We'll get some thoughts on NDSU spring ball and the spring sports for the Bison. They're supposedly going to be playing games here sometime in April. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll discuss that when we come back here on Hour 1 with Jeff Kolpack right after this. Back here on Hot Mic on this Monday morning, the literal calm before the storm is we're apparently going to get
we're in the
again
I was
here.
just upstairs in your esteemed newsroom.
Yep.
Not looking good, dude. Right in the bullseye.
Yeah, I heard that. That's not great news. Not great for
You're
our
gonna be,
spring
did you bring your sleeping bag?
I know I might need to. Might be doing the show at home the next couple days. We'll figure something out here. What's coming up? Spring football is into now its third week. Bison will practice 2 times this week, and then they'll really ramp up after that because, of course, the Easter holiday this weekend. They'll only go Tuesday and Thursday. Everything we've heard so far, I know Logan did a story last night on Jaden Pickett, the high school, now would-be senior that is already enrolled here, that has already caught Matt Ence's eye at linebacker. I know you've done that story before, and we've seen, I think that might be a trend you might start seeing more of kids potentially leaving high school early to get enrolled into college to start preparation.
I've heard this story now.
I'm telling you.
3, 4, 5 years. I haven't seen the trend.
Well, it's different now. It's different with NIL out there, with the potential with the portal.
Not
I
at
think
this
now.
level. It won't be.
Let's wait.
This is typical exaggeration on your part.
You think so?
This is just.
All right. I'm just telling you.
You're just pumping something that's not there right now.
I want to see.
You're taking
how it
one
goes.
guy and calling it a trend.
I will tell you that.
Come on, Dom.
It's not one guy at NDSU. It's happening in other places. It's happening in big boy football.
Well, maybe that's the case with 5-star recruits. I can maybe see that with NIL entering the picture. Not at this level. What are you talking about?
I would think there might be more that if they see a
Why?
success
There's no
pattern.
NIL?
Huh?
There's no NIL really at this level.
Potential, though, to go and play early on. And I'd say for Jaden's story is different because from what we were told, his background and where he's at was
I think it gives
to get out of there.
I think it gives you a jump on summer conditioning and maybe fall.
I think it's a chance to play.
But maybe it gives you a better chance of playing that 4-game rule. I'll give you that.
And I think for freshmen, they would take that as opposed to being beat up on the scout team all year. Then there's a chance that you can actually get out there and play. That, I think, is the appealing part. We'll see. I'd like to see how this bears out.
I will bet you whatever you want to bet.
Okay.
I will bet you bathroom naming rights to the Fargo Dome.
The ticket prices, or the tickets went on sale for the game at US Bank Stadium. Everything
How's it
ranging
going?
from $35 to about $100. What people have told me is that they're not upset so much of the prices; it's the Ticketmaster fees that go with them. It's like another $20 that go with it. That they're not too thrilled about that. So the number obviously
that just seems extensive. It
is. It's really it's way too excessive. Personally,
it's like those airlines when you book an $89
Don't go
ticket.
down that road with me.
Next time it's you look, it's $250.
I would say
okay, $10 to get up to go to the bathroom.
I would say.
Is there a theme to this show?
The number, angry. 34,000 is the number because that was the number that they got at.
I don't know if you're going to see that.
Target Field.
We'll see.
You think
it's too bad Eastern. It's too bad Eastern isn't better. I think people have. They are on the slide.
Not good right now.
Have they?
There?
I haven't looked. Have they brought in a whole ton of players?
Not really. No. I think they're going to be at the bottom part of the Big Sky. In
Wow! Imagine that.
I know it. The spring sports teams here for NDSU Bison baseball took another series from SDSU. They played. Well, they played.
We may not see them this year. We may not see.
Here's the ironic part: the Summer League baseball tournament is here. Is that the first time they're going to play at Newman Outdoor Field?
Hopefully.
I mean, that's
what about the
Memorial Day
RedHawks?
weekend.
RedHawks start in mid-May,
and they start on the road. So
thank God.
So they'll be, and then we're gonna have Chris Coste coming up here at our next segment. They may play their first home games after the Summer League baseball tournament is done here, and that's the end of May when that goes through. But Tyler Oaks' team has played well in conference play. I know they got beat up in the non-conference, but they've won their first 2 series in the Summer League.
Tough schedule. I mean, that schedule was just...
And it gets harder. They're playing Texas Tech this weekend. Texas Tech
I hope
is
they're
ranked
getting
20th.
some good cash.
I would imagine so. And I was going to mention this to you. I think the worm may have turned with Darren Mueller's team. They've had a couple of off years. We know 2020, obviously, they didn't get to finish with the COVID year. 21 and 22, they were okay. not normal Bison softball standards.
Pitching.
But
Pitching's
I think they got it back here, Kolpack.
I think my sickness is coming back. We got to wrap this up.
But I would tell you, I think 2023 might be the Bison softball team may have found itself.
Paige Vargas.
Right? And she came back for an extra year of eligibility as well. So, all right, you get out of here. Go feel better, man. He spent all of his energy on the bathroom story with the Fargo.
It was a hell of a story, though.
And it went right downhill after that. You feel better. Thanks for coming by.
I feel good.
All right, there he goes. Jeff Kolpack joining us each and every Monday with the huge news. Apparently, the bathroom is coming to the press box at the Fargo Dome whenever the renovation happens. We don't have a time on that. 5 years?
Who knows?
2 years?
Just
3 years?
Look for an announcement soon.
All right. And the Kolpack Memorial bathroom apparently will be taking place.
You
up
putting
there.
me in the grave already? Memorial?
You're sounding terrible over here. We'll take a break. We come back. Chris Coste will join us. We start hour 2 of Hot Mic on this Monday morning. Right after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Well, welcome back, everybody, on this Monday morning, WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. Thanks to Jeff Kolpack for stopping by, as always. A couple emails came in about our earlier topic as we were chatting on the taunting deal that happened with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Dom, how many elementary and middle school age girls watch the game? Coaches across the nation will be dealing with this. Sportsmanship is important. No doubt about it, but I don't have a issue with that. I mean, is it going to affect the youth of the game? I mean, come on. You know what affects more is the horrendous refereeing. That affects the game more than that, in my opinion. I got no issue with what happened yesterday afternoon. Because to me, that again, if you're going to dish it, I was always told that. When I was young, if you're going to dish it, you better be able to take it. Right? Isn't that the old axiom we always had? At least I did when I was a kid. You know, don't give out what you're not willing to take in return. Right? I mean, Clark put it out there because she did it for how many other games? At least a couple we had the video of that we showed over the last week to 10 days. You know what I mean? Like, it happened at least twice to my recollection, as Kolpack brought out against Louisville. And I want to say in the game before that, it probably happened. In the game in the Sweet 16 and the game in the Elite Eight, I'm almost positive it happened there. So, I mean, let's just stop clutching our pearls on everything and going, well, to our youth of watching it. Okay, well, you know, I mean, there's a heck of a lot of other things that are out there that are a lot worse to watch than seeing that, in my mind. And again, if we applaud it or don't say anything on the men's side, I'm not sure why on the women's side it's such an abhorrent thing that they can ever really discuss. That's just my 2 cents on that. Our next guest has plenty of 2 cents always to give us. I'm not sure if he wants to dive into those waters as we welcome on the manager of the American Association defending champion FM RedHawks and the head baseball coach of the Concordia Cobbers, at least for one more season. 2008 World Series champion Chris Coste joins us from the Philadelphia Phillies, who are, of course, the reigning National League champions. I am obligated to say that since you're on. Since they won the pennant, I have to say that. So welcome and good morning.
Yeah. World Series champs, and I had a meeting with the RedHawks the other day and got to see the ring. And you know, obviously, you know how I feel about my World Series ring. It's pretty awesome. That RedHawks ring, holy cow! Pretty it's cool. Actually heavier than my World Series ring, if you can believe that. They didn't give it to me yet. I had a quick meeting and they gave me a taste. I got to put it on my finger and then immediately had to take it off, put it back in the box. So, you know, winning championships, even at our level, World Series, anything in between, it's pretty awesome when you can see and feel that ring.
When will we get to see them? When is it the home opener? When will you get a chance to unveil these for everybody to see?
Yeah, I believe there's a ceremony pre-game. I don't know if it's opening day or the next day, or I'm sure there's a promotion behind it. And I know the player, because we have a lot of returning players this year, so it's going to be pretty cool for all of us to get those rings at the same time. And of course, I'm the manager. I have a little bit more pull than most people, so I got to see it early. They just did a phenomenal job with it. They really did. It's, between Brad Thome, Matt Rao, the people behind the scenes. I was disappointed they didn't let me have my say, but actually it worked out great. It probably worked out better that way because it really is beautiful.
The question is, you're supposed to play your home opener May 15th. Will you get that in before the snow comes is the question.
Yeah. How's training camp going to work?
Yeah.
Although our training camp isn't real long, but it is very important. There's some evaluation, there's, preparations. It's, because at our level, the level of play is so incredibly high. However, that we don't have this 4 to 6 week spring training. So you really have to rely on your guys showing up ready to rock. And they typically do, but some guys are a little bit more self-reliant than others. I know, like when I was a Red Hawk, it was up to me to be ready for the season, not to get ready for the season, but to be ready on opening day and be my best. And the vast majority of our guys are that way, but you never know if there's an injury they had to work around or things like that. So training camp for us is really important. So we may have to consider, if Brad Thome can get out his checkbook, we might have to, I wouldn't mind going to like Puerto Rico or maybe Cancun. No, but even we open up in Kane County, which is just right there in Chicago.
Yep.
So maybe we find a way to have training camp there, which it'd be disappointing because we like to have it in Fargo,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we open up in Kane County. We always find a way, so it'll work out.
With that said, you were supposed to be playing baseball today with the Cobbers. When do you think you actually will have a chance to play baseball again for the team you coach now?
Well, fortunately, a lot of the teams in our conference have turf fields, but like Gustavus, all turf, St. John's, all turf, and they're not supposed to get this weather that's coming our way. So we're going to get crushed again. It's part of the deal, but we're supposed to play Gustavus today. That's now moved to Good Friday. So we got Friday coming up, and that should work, and then Saturday we're supposed to play at home. That'll probably get bumped to Monday, maybe at St. John's. Fortunately, all the coaches in our conference they're phenomenal people. They want us to get our games in. So the people with turf fields open up their fields for, our conference to get games in. So it'll work out. It'll just take some time. It's another reason why in the North, you should just turf every baseball field there is. Like if it was up to me, turf the whole state of Minnesota if you could. But but seriously, I mean, I love a grass natural surface as long as you have the grounds crew and the facility, not only the facilities but the equipment to maintain it the way it's supposed to be. But if you don't, or if you're a spring sport, man, turf is the way to go.
So you and Kolpack are on that bandwagon. I don't like that, man. As a baseball guy, I don't like the turf. I understand you got to play, but I don't like the whole turf deal, man. Something about it doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what.
And I understand that. I would say if you have the grounds crew and the ability to make it an amazing surface, but the problem is, like, if you don't have that ability, it's actually almost makes it not only the ability to play with turf happens a lot sooner, but you get far more bad hops in the North. Like, CHS Field where the St. Paul Saints play. Right. That's where Hamlin plays. So we'll play there this year, and their surface is incredible. It's almost like turf. It's so perfect. But the other fields in our league, in the summertime, those fields are incredible, but in the spring, it's dangerous. They don't even turn the water on to water the fields for a while. So it can actually be dangerous to a certain extent, but you rely too much on luck with bad hops. Bad hops are part of the game. I totally get it, but I don't want a game with our conference. Everybody's so good. Everybody's so evenly matched. Too many games are decided by, one hop that bounces off the shortstop's chest, things like that. And not to mention, we'll go back to facilities, but also the personnel. Like, too many times in the North, whether it's high school or college, the head coach is also the head groundskeeper. And anybody who knows me knows that I do not do field work. I don't do it. I turf it. That's what I say. Hashtag turf it.
We have you on, obviously, because of the big news last week on your decision to this be the last year you're going to do the double, which I always admire the fact that you've done this for this long of doing the Cobbers and the RedHawks. tell me why this was the time to say, all right, I'm ready just to do one and move on from Concordia.
Yeah, and pulling double duty really had nothing to do with this decision. It had basically, because for me, the RedHawks, I hate to say this because I don't want Brad Thome to restructure my contract, but for me, the RedHawks is really easy. And part of the baseball side of it, it's what I'm best at. It's my skill set. I'm dealing with players who are just like me, trying to make it. There's coaching, but it's more managing, and that's what I'm best at, managing a team. I don't have to do travel. Yes, there's some recruiting involved, but I had a lot of help with that. Whereas with Concordia, I have an amazing coaching staff, but I'm kind of a one-man show, and it got to be just too much trying to organize all that myself. Now, someone else could do a phenomenal job at this. That's why I made that decision to step down after this year. I felt like for me to stay here would be selfish. I just feel like I'm not the guy to take this program to the next level just based on the resources I have, but someone else absolutely will. It's not an excuse. It's just more so I came to the recognition that for this program to take steps forward to be a top 25 team nationally, which it certainly can be, it wasn't going to be that way with me in charge. And the timing was also perfect because got a brand new ballpark coming. So whoever the new coach might be, on paper, we're going to have a really good team for the next couple of years. The recruiting has gone well, even though it's been exhausting. But the new coach will have a new ballpark to work with, a pretty good team, and has a chance to really make this program something special in the very near future, if not immediately.
Coaster, how much with it's 365 days a year NCAA stuff is now, even Division III it is, with recruiting, with everything. Even over the last couple of years, how much has that changed and drained on you that it's every day? It's every day that there's something I got to be paying attention to.
It's kind of like if you're a Seinfeld fan, where Newman says, because the mail never stops. It's kind of like recruiting. Recruiting is great, but it also is my biggest stress. I've gotten good at it in some aspects, but just not good enough. Like if I had just a little bit of help, that could have changed things. But just unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. Yeah. But so recruiting, like I said, it is great, but it's also by far the toughest part of my job. The coaching itself is not that, well, for me, it's not overly difficult because I do have a lot of help in that regard. But the recruiting can wear on you a little bit. And there's some guys who are amazing at that. But I just got to the stage where, the frustrations of recruiting and the toughness of it all, and the frustrations for me on occasion kind of boiled over. And every now and then I took it out on the team when they didn't always deserve it. And, we have a very resilient team. They can handle it. But there was too many times after a tough loss, and I didn't quite like the way that I reacted so much. And when the team didn't, sometimes they did deserve it. That's the way it goes. But the vast majority of the time they didn't. And I just didn't like the coach that I became as a result. And that's kind of when I realized, that someone else could take this program. I love my position at Concordia. I'm dealing with an amazing group of guys. The other coaches in the athletic department, Rachel Bergeson, our athletic director, is the best in the business. It's just that once again, it got to the stage where I knew with the resources that I had, it just wasn't going to be something I was going to be able to continue to do at my best.
How did the team react when you told them?
It's hard to say because, we have a very, my coaching style and the way they are. And of course I recruited all these guys. It's tough to put my finger on it. Yeah. I think the biggest question mark they have is, well, then who? But the thing is, Anthony Wren's my main assistant, who's also my main assistant with the RedHawks. I kind of slowly let him take a lot of the reins anyways. Like, granted, I'm the head coach. I make the decisions. I also have Bucky Bergow. So, Anthony Wren's is right there. So I'm sure the first thing in their mind was, will Anthony, get the job, take the job. And it's not up to him, obviously, necessarily. But Concordia always gets it right. They'll be, whoever the head coach will be, we'll have a lot to work with. Concordia will get it right. So, but they're pretty good. They're very focused. On paper, we have an amazing team. The goal is to win a conference. Conference play is about to start. We were supposed to start with St. John's and Gustavus, the top two teams in our conference, along with Bethel. And they're the teams that we had to play in the conference tournament last year. So it's the same gauntlet, and we started away with it right away. So they're more focused on the winning. And I've set them up for this for a long time, that the program is not about me. Like I'm the head coach, but you don't play for me. We're all in this together. So I've kind of conditioned them that regardless of who the head coach is, it's their program anyways. Concordia baseball is not about me. It's not about any one person. I'm not a king, and I'm certainly not a dictator. So I let them make a lot of decisions anyway. So in some ways, I've kind of had them prepared to be resilient and self-sufficient regardless of the scenario.
With St. Thomas moving on, how's that changed the level of baseball in the MIAC in your mind over the last couple of years? Has it at all or not so much?
No, not really, because when I first got into this, St. Thomas they were the Yankees.
Yep.
And everyone else was just fighting for second place. But the last 4 or 5 years, that just wasn't the case anymore. St. Thomas was still really good, but there was years they didn't make the conference tournament. I think our level of success against them since I've been the head coach in 2015, I think we're well over 500 against them, whereas before we had to fight to get one game, and you were lucky to win one game against them. So they weren't quite the juggernaut that they were for 15 years previous. Gustavus had kind of passed them up. Bethel had kind of passed them up, as did St. John's. Even we did in a lot regard. Now, their last year they did amazing. They ended up making the World Series, but before that, they were just another good team. So, if anything, the one thing I will say about St. Thomas is they did elevate the league. It made other teams keep up, and we did. I can't say the same for the sports because I don't know, but in baseball wise, they certainly didn't dominate the conference like they had done. From basically 2000 to 2012 or whatever it might have been.
I know you always take in a ton of baseball. What is your reaction on the outside that everybody is saying, boy, this is the greatest changes ever, that baseball should have done this 15 years ago. Great. The pitch clock was there. They just never enforced it. How did you take in what everybody was saying about this weekend?
Let me preface this by saying I have YouTube TV, and YouTube TV couldn't come to a negotiation with MLB Network. And MLB Network is really the reason why I watch TV for the most part. And I'll watch local news and I'll keep up to date and obviously weather. But MLB Network is why I watch TV. Yeah. I typically take off opening day from practice unless we have a game. And I sit on my couch and I'll flip channels, but MLB Network with a live look in. So I'll be honest with you, Dom, I'm dying a little bit right now. It's harder for me to keep up. I'm trying, but MLB Network makes it so easy to keep track of everything. Now, to answer your question about the rules, I don't mind the pitch clock. I just wish they could relax it just a little bit, so that's not what's on everyone's mind. Yeah. The pitch clock, I understand it. It'll quicken up the games, but they could loosen it up a little bit to where that's not what we're looking at. I mean, it's the players will adjust. We always do. The players always adjust. I really don't care for the throw over rules. I don't know why that's got to be a thing. That just blows me away that was even a topic, not to mention voted in. I do like stolen bases, don't get me wrong, but you shouldn't just be gifted second base because I'll say it like this. Someone asked me this question yesterday. The games were not long because pitchers threw to first base. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So the pitcher should be allowed to hold runners on, and if they need 10 more seconds to gather their thoughts and throw over, big deal. So I don't like that. I also don't like the shift necessarily, although teams will definitely combat that anyways. But the pitch clock, I'll say it again, I don't mind it. I just wish they could relax it just a little bit so that's not the primary focus during the game.
Who is the most notorious guy you ever caught that would always throw to first, that would just do it? Who is the guy that comes to mind, like would always throw to first base?
I never caught anybody in the big leagues that was like that. There were some guys who just refused. So like John Lieber just almost couldn't do it. But other guys were just either it came from the dugout or something. Like Brett Myers was really good at controlling the running game on his own. Jamie Moyer was really good at enforcing the running game on his own. But the vast majority of the time, it was all about the hitter. If Jose Reyes was on the bases, basically my job and the pitching coach's job was for the pitcher, don't get too distracted. If he's going to steal second base, I'll try to throw him on. Of course, I did almost every time, but, and he was the best in the business. But the biggest reason why base stealers have an impact on the pitcher is not getting the extra base. It's rattling the pitcher, distracting him. And all of a sudden now they're throwing fastballs down the middle and Carlos Delgado's putting it 12 rows deep.
Was there a time where you just you had to go out and say, and even in the minors, don't worry about it. Just let's focus on getting the guy out at home plate.
Yes, that was a common theme. And the other time that happened was maybe a runner at second base where the pitcher was so concerned about them stealing their signs.
Oh, okay.
That was also a big one where listen, they're not stealing the sign, because pitcher, it wasn't a lot, but there was times where a pitcher would get knocked around and they were convinced that the runner on second base had the signs, and I'd be like, listen, it's not the signs. You're hanging curveballs, you're throwing fastballs over the middle plate, things like that. You're too concerned about that. Make a pitch. But trust me, there were times where we absolutely did have to change the signs. The Mets were in those days, and with David Wright and Jose Reyes, they were amazing at stealing signs from second base. So it was my job to pay attention. It was my job, and Chase Utley was good at recognizing that and making us change signs. So that was something. But pitchers far too often might use it as an excuse, and it was our job to make sure they didn't get too distracted.
I never asked you this, but with PitchCom now a thing, how much would that have changed your job? And how would you have used it?
I didn't care for the PitchCom idea at first, but now I think it's a great idea. And it can speed up the game a little bit, and pitchers still have the right to shake off and things like that. But if anything, just to take away the paranoia of some of the pitchers, because infamous for getting their opponent signed. So when we played the Mets, we played the Yankees. The Astros weren't very good yet, so we didn't care about them as much. But there was a lot of concern about sign stealing. And the guy who was most worried about sign stealing was Chase Utley. And why do you think that was? Because he was amazing at stealing signs, so he just assumed everybody else was just as good when they weren't. I mean, A-Rod was good at it. Carlos Beltran was amazing at it, as we've come to find. So that's the paranoia was bigger than anything.
I love talking about you with this stuff. That's really interesting. Before I let you go, I'm curious, when you look at where the game is now and having the World Baseball Classic, and we had fun baseball, important baseball in March. I asked Dick Bramer this. When's the last time baseball had as good a month as they had in March? Even with Diaz getting hurt and Altuve getting hurt, it's still when you had Ohtani against Trout, I don't remember as good a month even during the regular season as baseball just had. How do they capitalize on that?
Yeah, I think that I would agree with everything you said. Even the previous World Baseball Classic, it just continues to get better every time. And a lot of it is the passion of a lot of the countries, and you're starting to see, when you see Mike Trout playing, regardless if he strikes out against Ohtani, when you see Mike Trout all in, that says a lot of stuff. So if you're a baseball fan, you got to love this. And I understand you're worried about injuries, but injuries happen in spring training too. There's already been a few. There's been, Rhys Hoskins did his ACL. Right. He's done. So injuries happen. But for the betterment of baseball, how you capitalize on it, I really don't know. I would love to see I'm not an Angels fan, but you really want to see if you're a baseball fan, you want to see the Angels in the playoffs. Maybe if you hate the Angels because you love their biggest rival, I get it. But Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani need to be in the playoffs. That'd be great for baseball. So I don't know how you capitalize on it necessarily, except for just try to ride, keep building it. I don't think it's going anywhere. If it was up to me, I'd have it like every year might get worn out, but like every other year would be amazing. I think, what is it now? Every third year, maybe?
Maybe 4, I think, actually, right now. It's 4, yeah.
Yeah, so if they could, once again, you don't want to do it every year, but it's such a big deal for the players now, which it used to not be as much. But I'll say it again, when you see Mike Trout all in, that tells you a lot right there. So hopefully the stars like him will join up, when the next one happens, and continue to make it great. Whether USA wins or not, there's no perfect way to do it, because you can't really take 2 weeks off midseason.
No.
You can't, and at the end of the year, players are a little bit worn out. You have a whole month of playoffs, so there's going to be guys who haven't played in a month. There's really no perfect scenario, but I like the fact that it did kick off the baseball season, because now it's the hype on baseball is even bigger because of it.
It's great to see you, man. Congratulations. I know this has been a lot over the last few years, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ring. You come back on, you can debut the ring, okay?
That's right. I know your fingers probably aren't big enough to wear it, but you can put it on anyway.
You can show it off, man. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming on, all right?
You too. Thanks.
Here he goes. Chris Coste, 2008 World Series champion, and now in his final year as head coach of the Concordia Cobblers. Of course, we'll see the RedHawks sometime in about a month from now. They're supposed to be playing games at Newman Outdoor Field, the reigning champs after their thrilling walk-off win to win the American Association Championship at Newman Outdoor Field last September. We're way overdue for a break. We'll get back on time. Matt Crane, Kindred outgoing AD, head football coach, coming up at 10:35. We'll visit with him as we roll on a Monday morning. We're back after this. Well, as we prepare for what's going to be a serious winter storm here, normally we'd be like, all right, well, the week of the Masters, we're going to be longing to look at the television, all those people that go there, jealous of them. Well, as we were mentioning with Kolpack, weather might be crappy down there this week. The daily forecast that they put out at Augusta National looks 40% chance of afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, then a 70% chance of rain on Friday and Saturday, 60% chance of rain on Sunday. So Bunnell might be upset he missed out, but he may not be that upset considering the weather might be atrocious. There's another thing to add on. Well, at least the people at the Masters, well, they might have crappy weather down there. I'm not sure how that's going to affect how the golf course will play. Certainly be soft and longer if it's wet. And obviously they can't play if it's thunderstorms out there, which will be intriguing to see. But at least now, as we look forward to what's to come this weekend, may not be all that great down at Augusta for the Masters when that begins on Thursday. We will take a break. We come back. Our good friend, one of the guys who's been on our program many a time, Kindred head football coach, athletic director Matt Crane, about stepping away and into a new job on the western side of the state. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike rolls on a Monday morning. WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. We sit here on this third day of April. We got the college basketball national championship game coming up tonight. It's a fun sports day, actually. A lot going on. The Wild play a big game tonight. We'll tell you all about that and what to watch before we say so long. One of the other stories that came down the pipe late last week as we were in full draft preparation mode and at NDSU Pro Day, one of my favorite guys I've had a chance to cover and get to know over the better part of the last decade is moving on. Got a new job and heading to the western side of the state. Matt Crane has been the head football coach at Kindred since 2014, AD since 2018, announced that he is going to be stepping down from that to take the AD job at Bismarck High School beginning next school year. And he's good enough to join us. He's been on the program many a time. I'll say first off, congratulations. Tell me how long this has been in the works. Has this been something you've been thinking about for a little while?
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. It's just an opportunity that kind of came up within the last couple months. I know when this job opened up and talking to some people around the area, and it's just something that I had to consider. And and as I was looking into it and just getting the feel for it, it's something that felt right. And we had to interview and went through that whole process. But no, it's just something that popped up for us on our radar, and we went for it. You have the unique spot of being, in a very prominent position, which I think football coach is probably more prominent than AD. In some schools, it's not. Kindred, that's not the case. Tell me what the reaction was for not just your players, but all the students that you have had a chance to get to know here over the last little bit. It's tough. I mean, like that was so it went up the day after that announcement came out, and it's just like one of the toughest days of my life. Yeah. Because it's because of the relationships that you get to build with all of those kids, and it's just a great community, a great school, and a great thing that they're building down there in Kindred. And it's just a lot more than just me there. My staff and the other leaders in that school, and it's been terrific. So to answer your question, it's been tough, yeah. But leaving a spot like that, I know there's some really good people that are going to continue on, and leaving doesn't necessarily mean there's any anything negative there. I mean, there's certainly not. We're just, I'm incredibly proud of my time that I had in Kindred, and it's always going to be a special place in my heart.
What are you really excited about Bismarck? Tell me about what gets you to say this is an exciting opportunity for me to go do.
Honestly, I think that everything, like I said, that I was hearing and I'm seeing now is just the tradition here, like the people here, everything that I really appreciated in Kindred, like that. The community I'm seeing here at Bismarck High, and I think that they've welcomed me with open arms. I'm excited about it. I think Bismarck's a sports hub in North Dakota. People want to come here, and people want to play those big tournaments here, and so to be a part of that is exciting for me. Those facilities, and to be able to be a part of those everything that's going on, like right in the middle of it. It's going to be a challenge for me, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I got to ask you about football. Taking over in 2014, that first year you won 2 games. After that, it was just 4-9, which I want to talk about. That was obviously the first state championship appearance. 4, then 7, 6, 12 in the state title, and then 10 this year. Where did you get a sense that the worm was turning? We're building something. We've got something going here.
It was that first year was like we knew the things that we had to do, and we had to establish what we wanted to establish, and so we set that foundation, and we had a group of kids that were, I think, freshmen at that time, because then they would have came up and in 16 when we made that title run. No, they were sophomores, and so anyway, they made that title run, and we knew that, hey, we have got to commit ourselves to the weight room. We got to commit ourselves to getting better every day in practice. These fundamentals, these just different coaching things that we knew, hey, like we have got to really lay this out, because we got a chance here, and we knew we had something, and then it started to turn. These kids started to make some progress, and we had to play those big boys, the Shanleys and Waptons at the time, and we were getting killed. Yeah, I mean, we were getting killed right when I got there, and so to be able to get out there and get some wins against those guys, and in 16, and to make that jump, like that was an incredibly special year for me, and for our community, just to get to that, and that win, like the state championship win, obviously huge. There's a handful of them that I will remember, but the moment of dogpiling and in that end zone in 16, like that's something I'll never forget. And those kids, those coaches, I'll never forget that.
People don't, I think, probably forget this because it's 8 years ago. I'm just looking at 2015, so I'm not trying to rip the Band-Aid off here. But you lost that year to Shanley, 55-7. You lost to Wahpeton, 44-6. You lost to St. Mary's, 53-0. And the following year, you're playing for the whole thing, which I want to get to in a second about how you got there. But just even that flip of a switch, did you even realize at the time, like, okay, we've arrived, like we're here?
Yeah. So it was more about, like, for us, it was like, okay, we have fast kids, we got athletic kids. We're not going to be able to match up pound for pound with some of these teams because they are just bullying us. So we had some really good athletes then, and it was just about trying to get the ball in space and making a miss and go. And that, like, those games and that semifinal game in particular, I'm running 4x1 and like, it was like, and stuff like you'll look at our state championship game that we had, like we were running 4x1. Like we weren't doing that, and McQuillan was great at quarterback and he had a terrific game, set a record there. But we were running the ball first, and then we set up our pass. It was totally the opposite back then. And so we just adapted to the kids, that we had, their strengths, and it's been fun, and it just happened to work that year.
All right. So let's go back here, the 2016, and the moment that you realized you won the game on a Hail Mary at Shanley. Take us where you were and who was the first person you hugged after you scored the touchdown.
Oh man. I've heard that call. I've heard that, watched that clip a number of times. I just remember, I think I broke my clipboard. I just threw it in the air and I'm hugging, I think it was Nate Safe. And then we went and we dogpiled in and there's just bodies and cleats. I mean, it was just wild. I mean, it's just special.
The fact that when you clicked it, okay, you had the crazy comeback and you beat Shanley of all teams on their field, and then you're going to go play in the Dakota Bowl the next week.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, and just to do it, like I said, for that town too, never being there, never getting there, and to get that opportunity, and we played a tremendous St. Mary's team that year. They had just a heck of a team, and so they, we got our butts whipped that day, but just to be frank, but it was fun to get there and to do that. And then we knew at that time as the coaching staff's like, all right, we're getting back and we're going to win this thing. Like that was our goal. And then to be able to get to that goal. And so to build that program up, and, off of that foundation and to win a state championship and to do all those things, it means a lot to me.
I got to ask, is there any part of you that is remiss about this because you won't be football coach anymore? How difficult was that about moving on and taking this job?
It was the biggest thing for me. I mean, it was sleepless nights. I mean, I can't even get into, the leaving the community was really tough for me. But the fact that I was going to hang up the whistle, was probably the hardest thing for me, because out of everything in my life, outside of my family, that's what I took the most joy in, and so, but I also take a lot of pride in leadership, and I take a lot of pride in doing those things. And I think that this job and this opportunity is about that. It's about taking on new leadership and coaching in a new way. Obviously you don't get to break the huddle down anymore. You don't get to, scheme the X's and O's, but I get to work with a lot of really good coaches here. And I get to work with, a new community, new group of players. And, and I hope I can help them any way that I can to get them to a new level.
Couple questions left here with Matt Crane before we let him go. What championship or moment outside of football meant the most to you as AD? What stands out when I ask you that means the most outside of football?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's some good ones. The boys basketball winning their first state tournament was awesome. The girls coming back after a couple of nail biters in the regional, and them winning was tremendous. State track boys track has had so many good ones. Or, I would say probably that first year, that boys run, was probably it. I mean, you can make a case for a number of them because they're all so much fun.
I'll tell you,
and we're obviously blessed.
That night in Minot, if we had a full attendance, it would have been crazy. When you guys beat Four Winds that night in the semifinal, that might have been, I don't know how many people would have been in the building, but there would have been a lot. It would have been a lot in my mind.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's just it. I mean, like those moments at tournament, just electric.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so much fun.
Is there any truth to the rumor that you and Travis Lamar will now speak since he's the AD at Central Cass? Is that feud over now that you guys will now speak?
Dom, it's never over between me and Travis. Like, I think I'm gonna set like a weekly reminder on my calendars, like send Lamar a nasty text, and so I'm gonna do that. And yeah, I mean, like, so I know Bismarck High's got tremendous wrestling here, and Travis the wrestling coach. I think we're just gonna have to schedule him. I gotta figure it out just so we can see that guy again. Fantastic. No, he's a great dude, and got to keep that going.
Before we go, we've had him on the show. You know this. You've seen it up close. For the summer to come, for the Riley Sunram Magical Mystery Tour, how crazy is this going to be over the next few months in Kindred?
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of that kid. And like talking about kids that you're going to miss, he's certainly one of them. But I'm super proud of him and super excited for him and his family and to see where he ends up choosing and where he ends up going. I mean, they're going to have a big decision, and I know there's going to be a lot of pressure let go after he makes that decision, because obviously a lot of people are interested, and he's it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to follow him.
Has your phone been blowing up with coaches as well calling you?
Oh yeah.
And
that's the coolest part. I mean, just for me, I got to live almost vicariously through Riley here as AD, because I got the Duke Blue Devils walking through. I got I got Kansas State, Iowa State, Kansas, Minnesota, and I'm probably just leaving people out here. But I mean, it's like just walking through the front door of Kindred High School, and it's just like, and I've been there for 10 years now. It's like, it's just crazy, and to see these guys show up. So it's been pretty special.
That's awesome. That's pretty good stuff. But I want to appreciate and thank you for all the time you've always given us, WDAY, myself especially, and couldn't be more happy for you. We're going to miss you seeing here, but excited about the new venture in Bismarck. So congratulations and thanks for the few minutes here this morning, okay?
Anytime, Dom. Appreciate you.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Matt Crane, outgoing Kindred head football and AD, and now taking over as AD in Bismarck. That'll happen for the 2023-24 school year. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get you ready for a busy Monday and what's to come weather-wise. It ain't looking great, folks. That's all I can tell you that. We'll do that. We'll wrap the show right after this on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. Wrapping up the show here on this Monday morning. WDAY News coming up at the top of the hour. We'll have the latest forecast and projections of what we're supposed to have happen here with the blizzard that is on tap. I'm just kind of shaking my head at this point. Just be safe, prepare as accordingly. Keep your eye on all updates that are coming because it doesn't look like it's going to miss. The hope of us going around or going south, or it does not look like it's going to happen. It looked like we're going to get walloped here. So prepare accordingly for that. And, of course, we'll have an update coming up top of the hour with our news at 11 o'clock here on Extra and on WDAY. Our show will be here. One or the other, we're going to be doing the show, whether that's here in the studio, at home, whatever. We'll be on the air each and every day and getting you ready for what's to come. It's a great sports week is on tap. We got the Frozen Four that begins on Thursday in Tampa. The Masters obviously getting going, and the Twins, who are supposed to play a baseball game Thursday at Target Field, may have to use that flexible day on Friday to play their opening game of the baseball season. Let's get you ready for what to watch on a big-time Monday. It is the finale of the college basketball season tonight. Connecticut and San Diego State will play. 8:20 the start time. I know, it forever. I don't know why, but CBS has done this for years. 8:20 tonight on CBS for the national championship between Connecticut and San Diego State. Last betting line on this has Connecticut as a 7-point favorite over SDSU, the other SDSU. 8:20 tonight on CBS. Twins and the Marlins will open up a series from Miami, 5:30 on Bally Sports North for that one, as the unbeaten Twins take their 3-0 record to Miami. The Marlins lost 3 of 4 to the Metropolitans this weekend, as it'll be Taylor Mahle making his first start for the Twins after, of course, his shoulder issues against Johnny Cueto will be going. So Mahle against Cueto, the starters in that one. And the Minnesota Wild are back home tonight. They'll take on the Vegas Golden Knights, 7 o'clock on Bally Sports North. Plus, the Wild lost on Saturday night in Vegas. Only the second time they've lost in regulation since the middle of February. They still hold first place in the Central Division in the Western Conference standings. They are one up on Colorado and Dallas heading into tonight's game. The Avalanche have a game in hand on the Wild, as you see the up-to-date standings in the Western Conference. As it stands now, Vegas leads the West by 1 over the Kings, as you see it, with Edmonton still hot on there. So nothing has been decided, basically, in the Western Conference with 6 games to go for the Wild left in their season. This is how the playoffs would shake out if they were to start today. The Wild will play the Kraken in the opening round because Seattle is the top wildcard team. The second wildcard team plays the team with the best record, and that is Vegas right now. So Vegas will get Winnipeg. You can see a handful of teams have already clinched spots. The Kings have, the Oilers have, Vegas has, Carolina, the Devils, the Rangers, the Lightning, the Maple Leafs, and, of course, the Bruins have already clinched the President's Cup as the best team. They've been that way. They've only lost 12 games in regulation all season. The Bruins have won 60 games already. 60
12-5. They have a 25-point lead in their division. They've been all right. Big game, though, for the Wild tonight as they'll take on Vegas. We got to roll. Thanks to our guests today, to Jeff Kolpack, to Chris Coste, and Matt Crane. If you missed any of our Mets and Brewers play today as well. Missed any of our show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Have a great Monday, everybody. Be safe out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com.